All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to a Bleacher Report article reaction. And I saw this and I was intrigued by it because this is probably something I don't think I'm going to ever do. It's an ultimate 5-year redraft using the 2020 draft class to the 2024. And we're going to kind of break this down, see what goes into it, and see if we're going to agree or disagree with what they said. I've done videos where I rank the top 25 players under the age of 25, or just, ranking young players in the league, but this is definitely a different twist on it. So they've only used the players from these 5 classes along with undrafted free agents from those years. So you might have your Austin Reeves of the world and some guys like that. Each team started from scratch. So this is basically who would you want to begin a franchise with who would you want to begin a franchise around from this point forward? Injuries are factored in, but contracts are not, because I guess some of these guys, 2020, 2021 guys, have already gotten their second contracts. And teams are ordered by worst record from 2021 to 2025, and the Pistons have the worst record. So this is, kind of ranking all the young guys in the NBA. I think you're taking into account, obviously, injuries. This does not have the Zion, Ja Morant draft class. It's going to start with the LaMelo Ant draft class, and then it's going to go to Zachary Sachet. Pistons are on the clock. I mean, in my mind, it's got to be Wemby, right? You could bring up Anthony Edwards. You could bring up Cade Cunningham. You could bring up Paolo Banchero. But no, it's clearly Victor Wembanyama is who should go number 1 in a 5-year redraft or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, Detroit ends up getting Victor Wembanyama here number 1. It's essentially just a twist on ranking the 25 guys in basically the last 5 draft classes, which is cool. It's ranking the top guys from the draft class. So Washington at number 2 selects Cade Cunningham, which is interesting to take Cade Cunningham over Anthony Edwards. Now, I get injuries were considered. That's why Tyrese Haliburton didn't go. But consider the context of offenses in which he's operated. Spacing is notoriously hard to come by, and he makes it work anyway. When he gets alleviated of every possession ball handling duty, he has shown he'll knock down shots at a higher clip too. Shout out to the Dennis Schroeder era in Detroit. I don't know. Cade is close to Anthony Edwards in my opinion, and you can make an argument that Cade is a better defender than Anthony Edwards. I'm not really sure. If we're throwing out contracts, I mean, Cade just got his contract extension basically kicking in. I don't know. I think Anthony Edwards is who I would take right now over Cade Cunningham. Yes, Ant has had better teams. He's gotten to play with Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle. Cade hasn't had that much teammate success yet, although he did bring them to the playoffs in 2025. I just think what Ant has done, bringing the Timberwolves to back-to-back conference finals, showcasing that he could be arguably the best three-point shooter in the NBA. He shot 10 threes per game last year, was an elite shooter on that volume. He's not taking as many this year, but it's still taking 8 a night. He's a true 3-level scorer. I don't know. I think there are parts of Cade or of Ant's game that could be inefficient at times, but Cade, his efficiency this year, it's good enough for the workload he has, and he's been great, and I'm not trying to downgrade Cade here or be a Cade hater. I think I would go with Ant over Cade if we're going to do this full 5 years redraft here. And you can let me know if you disagree with that. Are you Cade over Anthony Edwards going forward? There's a chance in 2 years from now, Cade is unanimously looked better than Anthony Edwards right now. But I think from what we know right now, and it being up in the air for the future, who could be better, I think I'm taking the proven. I say that as Cade isn't proven. It's just the guy that's brought his team to back-to-back conference finals, that's had more All-NBA appearances. He's been in the league one more year as well. So I slightly disagree with that. Okay, you're taking Tyrese Haliburton over Anthony Edwards in. Am I tripping here? What? I don't know. I disagree with that. Haliburton was obviously freaking fantastic in his 2025 playoff run, but we're taking injuries into account. Haliburton just tore his Achilles. What? Is there a reasoning? Who had this pick? Washington? Is it because they have Bradley Beal? No, that team rosters doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I disagree with this. And then I also disagree with Haliburton over Ant. I love Haliburton, but I'm taking the chance of a guy tearing his Achilles. I will say if Anthony Edwards was in the Eastern Conference, there's a chance he beats Boston in 24 or beats Indiana or the Knicks in 2025. I'm not going to sit here and say that Indiana was the second best team in the NBA last year. I think they were the best team in the Eastern Conference. And yes, they did bring OKC to 7, but so did Denver. If you want to say that Indiana last year was better than Minnesota, that's fine with me. But yeah, I don't know. I think Tyrese Haliburton is going to be fine off the Achilles tear. And I know what Haliburton can do is basically the modern day Steve Nash, can really plug and play him on any single team. He could be maybe your number 1 scorer, but he can also be your 5th most important scorer. And he can be equally as effective as just kind of a floor spacer, as a playmaker, passer, transition runner. His basketball IQ is off the charts. I like Anthony Edwards' defensive intensity a little bit more, and definitely his athleticism 100%. So I disagree with this. I mean, this is including the 2020. Yeah, because Haliburton's in the 2020 draft. So I'm not trying to like sound like I'm glazing Ant here, but I just think going forward, I'm taking the guy that hasn't torn his Achilles yet, that, like Haliburton, has brought his team to back-to-back conference finals, because Haliburton did that and made it to the NBA finals. I just feel like what you need in the modern NBA too is a scoring asset. Like, I'm taking Ant's scoring just ability and what he could do as like a 3-level scorer, downhill attacker, his athleticism at the rim, a little bit more than Haliburton's right now. But Haliburton's obviously playmaking is better, passing is better. But yeah, I disagree with this here. I mean, I could see the reasoning for Cade over Haliburton because of the Achilles and maybe the scoring upside. I can't really see Ant over both those guys right there. So Ant ends up going number 4 here to the San Antonio Spurs. So yeah, it took exactly 4 picks to find the steal of the draft. You guys are making the draft. Why is there a steal here? I know somebody has to go 4, and we could have said Haliburton's the steal or Cade's the steal. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of disagree with this. You guys were making the draft. So yeah, I would change that around. If you're asking me Haliburton or Cade, it's so tough. It's so tough because Haliburton is a little older, because Haliburton wasn't, I believe, a freshman coming out of Iowa State, and he was drafted a year earlier as well. I think it's just because of the Achilles. I can use that as an excuse to say Cade over Haliburton, but I'm taking Ant over both those guys. All right, let's move on. Rockets here at number 5. They select Evan Mobley. Okay, so we're having Evan Mobley over Paolo, over Franz, over Şengün, over Scottie Barnes, over LaMelo Ball, which isn't too shocking. Tyrese Maxey could have been in consideration here at number 5. I don't think anybody from the 2024 draft class might not even go in the top 10 or maybe even in this draft. Who knows? In 2023, like Amen Thompson over Evan Mobley. Yeah, like, because Evan Mobley literally won a DPOY last year. It's funny. Like, there's tweets out there. I think I saw it last weekend where it's like, if you need somebody to give you 15 and 6, Evan Mobley will give you 18 and 8. If you need somebody to give you 18 and 8, Evan Mobley will give you 18 and 8. If you need somebody to give you 25 and 10, Evan Mobley will give you 18 and 8. It's kind of true, but it's kind of not. Obviously, like, some of these games just end up being like that. And yes, I think going here into year number 5, you'd like for Evan Mobley to take a leap as an offensive creator, as somebody that can actually have a different scoring leap to his game. We saw that in some ways last year, but there's always, I think, going to be a limit to what his offensive numbers will look like with Donovan Mitchell at the top with his usage, and Darius Garland's still lingering. I know he's only played like 6 or so games this year, but I wonder what Evan Mobley would look like going forward. I think, like, in my mind, Jaren Jackson Jr., I thought had a scoring leap in him. Maybe with Desmond Bane gone, we haven't seen that this year whatsoever. And guys at the end of the day will struggle if they become like the first option from the second or second from the third. So yeah, Mobley is still like one of the best defensive players in the NBA. I think you can bring up a lot of the guys from the 2021 draft class at this spot. I would think about Paolo over Evan Mobley, just because I think he can maybe operate as a number 1 more than Mobley, although Paolo definitely has his weaknesses right now that are kind of on display as a floor spacer going forward. So Maxey going number 6, Maxey ahead of Franz. Okay. I mean, Maxey this year has been freaking incredible. You can make a great argument that he should be an all-star starter. He's playing like a top 5 guard this year. Like, it's Shea, it's Luka. Maybe Donovan Mitchell has been better. Like, Steph, I think, has had its moments more. And it's like Maxey, Brunson, Cade, obviously in that tier right now. Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker as well. And Maxey, I think, has elevated himself into a new tier. Maybe he was in like that tier 3 of guards. Like, tier 1, you want to say, is like Luka and Shea, and maybe you can have Steph and Ant in there. And then tier 2 is like your Brunsons, Mitchells, Booker. I think Maxey's kind of in that tier now. Has definitely passed Ja Morant. I would say he's definitely passed LaMelo Ball and maybe even Trae Young as well. So Maxey going number 6 here. I mean, one of the most crafty scorers at the guard position. Not the best defender in the world, but we saw him in 2025 last year kind of struggle when Paul George and Embiid missed some time. So we're like, okay, can Maxey even operate as a number 1? This year, I mean, he's definitely the franchise, and he's definitely the future, I would say, in Philly, because you can also trust him to play out there. I mean, Nick Nurse is kind of running him into the ground. He's played so much this year, but I mean, what he's proven is incredible. He had a good playoff series against the Knicks back in 2024. He didn't really have like a true breakout series in, what was that, 2023, where they lost to Boston in round number 2, but still like had his moments. Either way, Maxey comes here ahead of, like, yeah, not shocked about LaMelo. If you're trying to build a team going forward, like, I could see Şengün's upside. I could see Paolo. Like, Maxey out of Paolo is interesting as well. I don't know if that's a little bit too reactionary to the start of the year. So Şengün's going 7, so they have Şengün ahead of Scottie Barnes. I still like Şengün's offensive ability more than Scottie, but like, Scottie has been so efficient this year for the Raptors. It's just Scottie has been an incredible defender. But I do think what Şengün can provide for you with his, like, touch around the rim, his footwork, his passing ability, and just being able to be an elite offensive hub. And I know it ended up having its downfall or its like weaknesses with Domantas Sabonis in Sacramento. I think Şengün is a lot more physical and a lot more like energetic defensively, where he can kind of look the part out there at the 5. Like, he's no Rudy Gobert, he's no Evan Mobley, but he can hold his own at the 5 spot. So yeah, I'm fine with Şengün going. I mean, Şengün ahead of Paolo is interesting, but I could see that for sure. I mean, Şengün has had one more year of development. He obviously had such a, like, he was like the Turkish LeBron James before he came over to the league. So he's played plenty of pros overseas, pre-NBA, and he's definitely looked the part as one of the better young bigs in the league. Okay, so I didn't really mention Jalen Williams or Chet Holmgren yet either, and Jalen Williams going ahead of Paolo, ahead of Franz, ahead of Scottie. Fine with me in a way. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not out completely on Paolo. I know Paolo has worked way too much on the mid-range, or he's taken too many mid-range jumpers. He's not a great three-point shooter and hasn't really gotten better from 3. He got injured last year. He's injured this year. So now you're maybe worrying about some injury concerns going forward. I just wonder what Jalen Williams would look like as a number 1. I mean, it took Jaylen Brown to what, year number, whatever he's in, 9, 8, whatever, to see him as a number 1 option. I mean, he's doing a great job this year, but we may never see Jalen Williams as a number 1 option as long as he's playing with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, he was an all-NBA guy last year. He's an all-defensive caliber player as well. So you're getting elite two-way ability. I just think if you're starting a franchise, it's a little, like, I don't know. Like, I think he'd be fine as a number 1 option. He's got a great shot diet. He's a good mid-range shooter. He's a solid three-point shooter. He's great around the rim. He's fantastic in transition. And he's a great defender. It's just like, do you think if you're starting a team today and you needed that number 1 offensive weapon, are you going to J-Dub? Are you going to Scottie? Are you going to Franz? Are you going to Paolo? I think those could have some debates as well. And then you have Amen Thompson as like a Swiss Army knife still on the board. So Chet Holmgren, who I also should have just mentioned, ends up going number 9 here. Chet, I also don't know if he could really ever operate as a number 1. Now, it's still so early in his career, like his rookie year, he didn't play because of an injury. So he really has like 2 full years under his belt in a way because he missed so much time last year as well. I mean, Chet is like a do-it-all defender. He's an elite three-point shooter for somebody at his size. But if you're starting a franchise, I mean, it gives you so much versatility because he can play the 5, he can play the 4. Oh, man, it's just so tough. Like, I know he's proven more than Paolo because he's played in bigger games and he's got a ring because he's been a part of, like, one of the best defensive teams of all time. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not out on Paolo. And I know Paolo hasn't had the greatest start to the 2026 season. He was so good at the end of 2025, though. I think I would have Paolo go higher than Chet and maybe even J-Dub, and that could be a hot take in Maxey as well. Number 10, we have Amen Thompson. I mean, they do mention that Orlando Magic fans are losing their minds, so I didn't skip Franz or Paolo. Yeah, I don't know. Banchero is more established as a scoring threat than Amen Thompson, and Amen is a better defender by a large part, I would say. As a downhill attacker, you can maybe even say Amen's a little bit better and maybe a better rebounder. I don't know, though. I don't know. Like, yes, I love Amen Thompson's defense, but when you're starting a franchise, what do you value more, defense or offense? If you're looking for a number 1, you're kind of looking for the offense, right? So it's really tough to say that, like, I don't know. Maybe this is a wake-up call for me. You can let me know. Am I being too high on Paolo and I need to kind of lower my expectations because we've kind of seen a decent sample size with Paolo now going into year number 4 of him trying to be like this. Well, Paolo's going to year number 4, right? Yeah, where you already got that rookie extension, him as a shot creator, him as a number 1 option. I don't know, though. I saw him, like, hold his own against Boston. I saw him hold his own against Cleveland 2 years ago when he really didn't get much help outside of that, and he brought Cleveland to game number 7 at such a young age. So I disagree here. Amen is freaking fantastic, and, like, I just don't think Amen Thompson could ever be a number 1 option in this league. Number 11, Jalen Johnson. All right. Oh, I forgot about Jalen. I should have mentioned him before. He's going to be a first-time All-Star this year. I don't know. They say to which I would reply, other than drawing free throws, what does Paolo Banchero do better than Jalen Johnson? Now, I mean, this is a little bit unfair because Jalen Johnson is currently balling out and Paolo Banchero isn't. Now, there was always questions about Jalen Johnson's three-point shot, and it's looked the part as of late, but I'd like to see a larger sample. I think Jalen Johnson is slightly better as a downhill attacker, but I do think if Paolo plays to his strengths, I like his finishing around the rim a little bit more. I think Jalen Johnson is slightly a better defender at the moment. I don't know. I think I just want to see more of a workload from Jalen Johnson as the number one option, which we've seen, and Atlanta's played great, but we've seen Paolo bring Orlando into the playoffs. I've seen Paolo average close to 30 points per game over a 2-month stretch. Haven't really seen that from Jalen Johnson, and that's unfair to Jalen Johnson because he hasn't really had that opportunity as a number one. He got hurt last year when he was fully breaking out, and this year we're seeing him break out what we thought would happen in the second half last year, and we're getting that hand in hand with Trae Young being out. So I still think Paolo's better. It's just like Jalen Johnson has been better this year in the very small sample sizes we've seen Paolo and Jalen Johnson. But if he keeps this up throughout the rest of the year, Paolo struggles with his efficiency, his defensive, his on-ball and post defense when he gets back. Yeah, I'm fine to say Jalen Johnson's better than Paolo, but I think this is a little bit too reactionary going forward. So next up here at number 12, Paolo Banchero goes to the Sacramento Kings. I haven't really been listing the teams that much. I guess, yeah, like the Pacers have had the 11th worst record since 2021. So the Raptors end up getting J-Dub, the Magic get Şengün, the Trailblazers get Maxey, the Rockets got Evan Mobley, which is ironic, and the Spurs got Anthony Edwards because the Rockets could have drafted Mobley. So yeah, you had Chet to the Pelicans, Amen Thompson to the Jazz, Jalen Johnson to the Pacers, and then 12, Paolo Banchero to the Sacramento Kings. It's just insane how loaded that 2021 draft is. I'm surprised that Jalen went ahead of Scottie just because I love Scottie's defense, but hey, we're starting a team. I'd take the offensive-ended guy a little bit more than the defensive-ended guy, which means, like, how many of these guys I think could score 28 a night when it matters the most? Maybe Jalen Johnson can one day. I don't think Amen can. I don't think Chet can. Jada maybe can. He definitely can. Maxey can. Şengün can. I just think Paolo's a little bit too low on this. I think I disagree with that a little bit. 13 here, we have Brooklyn taking Scottie Barnes. Yeah, this had to be the floor of Scottie. I mean, it's really tough because I still think Scottie is closer to the top guys from the 2021 class than they make this out to be. Like, I don't know. If Scottie finishes higher than Mobley this year in Defensive Player of the Year voting, which is definitely possible, Scottie's been unreal defensively. You could say the same thing. Like, what does Evan Mobley do better than Scottie Barnes outside of shot blocking, right? Because Scottie's been a good three-point shooter this year. I guess you could say post ability, but Scottie's really good inside the paint as well. He uses his athleticism and his strength and his physicality to his advantage, and I think that's what we've seen strides from Scottie this year, but I've also seen Scottie be way better this year as a number 2 than what we saw from him last year as a number 1. So I think that's, at the end of the day, you're starting a franchise. I'd like the guy that's like, I could see him as a number 1. Franz here at 14. Like, I think this is a little bit low for Franz. It might be crazy to say, but Franz should maybe be higher than Amen Thompson. I think Amen Thompson is so effective defensively because he doesn't have the workload offensively than Franz Wagner has, or Tyrese Maxey has, or Paolo Banchero has at times. And Franz, I think, is still a solid defender as well. So I think 14 is a little bit low for Franz. Oh my God, it's such a tough question. Like, it's just so hard, though. That's like what this exercise is. Like, I'm trying to just picture Chet outside of OKC's system and like Franz or Chet to start a franchise with. I mean, Chet gives you, like I said, so much optionality, so much versatility, but Franz, I think, can maybe step up a little bit more than Chet as like that true number 1. Once again, that could be a hot take, especially if Franz is actually finding his three-point shot again. Austin Reeves going number 15 to the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, yeah, from what we've seen, I'm taking Austin Reeves over like LaMelo Ball at this point. I feel like Desmond Bane is probably in this tier. Just like Dyson Daniels will probably eventually get to from the 2022 draft class. And then we'll get to some other guys that I may be thinking of. I don't know where they're going to have like Stephon Castle or Montes Buzelis in this, but Reeves, he's like putting up a quiet 26 points per game this year. He's been unreal. Speaking of Desmond Bane, he ends up going 16 to the Thunder, also it's kind of crazy. They've had the 16th worst record since 2021. The Hawks end up getting Austin Reeves. The Bulls getting Franz Wagner, which is ironic a little bit just because they could have drafted, well, they traded in the Vucevic trade, ended up being Franz. Scottie goes to Brooklyn, and Paolo went to Sacramento. So Desmond Bane, who had a monster performance in their cup win against it wasn't against the Pistons, who's now kind of starting to shape into form now for the Magic this year, goes to the Thunder at 16. LaMelo to the Lakers at 17. I mean, he still has a high ceiling in this league. It's just you worry about the injuries, which they are, so I get him going this low, and you worry about a little bit of the consistency. Like, LaMelo is healthy right now, but he's really struggled with his shot as of late. So I get him going that low, and I don't know if I'm like done with LaMelo Ball completely, but I could see even a reasoning for him going lower than this right now. Jalen Duren, 18 to the Timberwolves. You do this before the season started. He might not even go in this draft, but he has been one of the best overall big men in the NBA this year. Like, he's still not in the tier of like Jokic and like Giannis and some of those bigs, but Duren's athleticism is unreal. There was an alley-oop against the Magic on Friday night where I don't remember if it was Cade that threw it, but like Cade is driving down low and he just kind of throws it up behind his head, and you don't even see Duren under the basket because he just comes flying down the free throw line. I'm going to show a clip with it of it when I'm talking about it, but it just blew my freaking mind how good it was. Actually, let me just show you it. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this shot here where Cade is just kind of coming down and like, look how far Duren is. Maybe he's closer than I thought, but it's just like, he just throws it up here from the elbow. I mean, you have Bane kind of crashing down a little bit and Goga's there. And just like, look how far he's jumping from, like where he sees the ball going in the air. He's pretty much at the elbow, or he's at like the free throw line when he sees Cade's head motion, and he's just like unreal as an alley-oop catcher this year. I just feel like I had to watch that one again because I jumped out of my seat a little bit when I saw it. So Duren ends up going to Minnesota here at 18. I should have mentioned Denny before as well. I'm like trying to think another guy from the 2020 draft class. Oh, like, all right, we want to be reactionary here, which I think this is. I could make a great argument that Denny should go ahead of LaMelo Ball. He's been more available. I think he's better like around the rim. He's been a better three-point shooter this year. He's, I think, got good, just as good court vision. He doesn't have like the assist numbers as LaMelo Ball does, but I like Denny as a defender more than LaMelo Ball as well. I think Denny should probably go higher than LaMelo in this. Josh Giddey ends up going number 20. Somebody that has a ceiling, I think, what he could be to lead your team, but all the reasonings to having like Chet or somebody like that, that's like a good complimentary guy. Giddey could just make everybody else better around him. So I think that's nice to start a franchise with. Not as high of a ceiling as like obviously Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, but a good guy to have. Trey Murphy, number 21 here to the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, we haven't seen anybody from the 2024 draft class. I wonder if we included 2025, like how high does Cooper Flagg go in this? Like not even more than 2 months into his career. So Dallas gets Trey Murphy at 21. Philly gets Reed Shepherd at 22. If they make this after opening night, I don't even know if he gets drafted here, but Reed should not ever be probably included in most improved player conversations because he was the 3rd overall pick, but has shown so much progression game by game and just looking so much more comfortable with the ball in his hands. And it just shows that you got to be patient with these guys, because I know what I saw at Kentucky. This guy made very few mistakes. He made all the right reads, and we're seeing that now for Houston, where he's kind of thrown it into a team right away where they have super high expectations, and it's so different from college play. So the Knicks go Jalen Suggs to 23. I mean, yes, I think Shepherd is a little bit more like efficient. He's a better shooter than Jalen Suggs, maybe a better offensive scorer. Jalen Suggs, though, is so much better defensively than Reed Shepherd, and if we're going this late into it, I think I like Jalen Suggs a little bit more. He's also proven too. Like I need to see more out of Reed Shepherd. He hasn't really played in a playoff game yet, or a meaningful like minutes in one. Cleveland 24 here, select Peyton Pritchard around the range where he went in the 2020 draft. I mean, he was an absolute steal late in that first round. Golden State gets Stephon Castle here at 25. All right, so I know Peyton Pritchard is proven and he's a 6th man of the year, but I think this far into it, I guess that's the thing with Reed Shepherd and Suggs, but I do think like Castle still has potential one day if the shot ever comes around, like just the upside more than Peyton Pritchard, just because of what he can also do defensively. Because I think Castle, I mean, Pritchard's a better defender than what he may show off, but I don't know. I think I would go Castle there. I mean, we're splitting hairs this far in. Jaden McDaniels at 26. I wish we got like that 20 point per game weep, and I don't know if we ever will see him as like a true number 2 because it's always been Cat and Randall. But his defensive ability, man, I don't know. Maybe he should be higher than Mike Castle and Peyton Pritchard as well on this. Number 27, Shaedon Sharpe to the Phoenix Suns. Now just kind of like a high upside play in Sharpe, who got off to a disappointing start this year, but has been turning it around after the slow start. Alex Sarr here, 28 to Milwaukee. I mean, I might take Sarr over Shaedon Sharpe, to be honest with you, for what he could do as a floor spacing big man, elite rim protector at his age. Not like overall in the NBA, but I think at his age, he's an elite one. 29, Jabari Smith Jr., another guy that I don't know if we're ever going to see the offensive leap from, but is still an intriguing young player in this league. There's a reason why one of the better ran organizations gave him over $100 million. And Onyeka Okongwu, number 30. So yeah, Brandon Miller wasn't drafted. Matas Buzelis wasn't drafted. I mean, Okongwu has been great this year. In the 2020 draft class, it's funny, like LaMelo's got a little bit worse and appealing, but like Haliburton over the last year, Maxey, Denny, Okongwu, Pritchard, Bane. 2020 class, it's kind of a loaded one. And if you remember at that time, a lot of people said it was a weak draft. It was a weird one too with the COVID year. But yeah, no Brandon Miller, who I'd probably take over Shaedon Sharpe. I know the injuries. I'd probably, let's see. Tari Eason. I think I would take Walker Kessler over some of these guys as well. I'm okay with Christian Brown and Quentin Grimes being off at Eason as well. I think what Walker Kessler could do, and if the three-point shot is legit, I think he's warrant of a top 30 pick or a top 30 ranking here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Leave a link to this article in the description below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything I said or the article said. Subscribe for more content like this. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.